Hi everyone. We're here today to talk about the use of technologies by my information community role-playing game, or RPG, players. This includes everyone from first-time players of the games to creators. Most of this insight comes from my own experiences, as well as the paper Dungeons and Downloads, Collecting Tabletop Fantasy Role-Playing Games in the Age of Downloadable PDFs by Dan Sitch, which is super interesting and I highly recommend it, especially if you're wondering why your library doesn't have RPG ebooks yet. First off, a little background. Role-playing games are a cooperative storytelling game, with rules to mediate how characters interact with the world. Generally, each player will have one character they control in the world of the game. The exception to this is the Game Master, or GM, who controls the world and any non-player characters, and also acts as referee of sorts. If it sounds complicated, no worries. Imagine a board game crossed with an improv acting class and you're most of the way there. Now, when most people think of RPGs, they think of Dungeons & Dragons, basements, and, God help us, Mountain Dew. But aside from that, they think of pen and paper, games played using only a few books, some dice, sheets of paper, and a pencil or two. But this has been changing in recent years, as more and more RPG players switch over to using PDFs and other ebook versions of their favorite games. The reasons for this are many and varied. First off, using a book can feel clunky and slow, especially when you need to just look up one rule. Scanning through page after page of material for keywords can take a long time. With PDFs, one can easily search for a particular passage or jump to a chapter. They can even be used quickly at the gaming table with technology like iPads, which RPG players have been quick to adopt. It's also the simple case that RPG books tend to be big and heavy, often in the 8.5 by 11 inch hardcover format and clocking in at hundreds of pages. With many games also having multiple books, gamers have embraced PDFs as a way to keep their collections small and portable, and it's way easier on the back. There is a dark side to the rise of PDF use by RPG gamers, and that is the consistent use of the format for game piracy. Scans show up online regularly and are passed around via file sharing sites in the odd illicit flash drive. This used to be driven by legitimate PDFs simply not being available, or games going out of print and being almost impossible to find, or demanding ludicrous prices on the used market. But even with the rise of legitimate RPG PDF purchasing sites like DriveThruRPG and Indie Press Revolution, and the bringing back of out-of-print games like old versions of D&D, being brought back on Wizards of the Coast's Dungeon Masters Guild site, many gamers still choose to get their PDFs illegally. This piracy has led to restrictive licensing of RPG PDFs, often limiting the use of a purchased PDF to a single individual. This is sometimes even enforced, at least on DriveThruRPG, by watermarking the PDF with the purchaser's name and a unique ID number to discourage piracy. These licensing terms, along with disagreement in the community about the fair price for an ebook, have somewhat stifled the embrace of PDF technology by RPG gamers, especially legitimate PDF technology. The licensing especially has essentially put the kibosh on libraries being able to add RPG ebooks to their collection, because you can't use an individual license as an institution who's letting people borrow it. There's no clear path forward yet, as many individual RPG players are satisfied enough with the current status quo, but the industry will need to rethink their licensing strategies if they want libraries and other institutions to add their ebooks to their collections and make RPGs a more widely accessible medium. One other technology I want to mention briefly is online role-playing games and social networks, which are used by players to play with others around the world. Sites like Roll20 and apps like Google Plus Hangouts are used by gamers all over to play online, removing the need to have a local group and giving individuals access to a larger number and wider variety of games than would ever be possible and restricted only to other players in the geographic area. This lets them advance the community by sharing gameplay styles and experiences, and game development efforts can even be facilitated by using these sites to play test with players beyond your local group. And that's going to be it for today. The RPG enthusiast community has embraced numerous new technologies, of which these are just a few. PDFs and online role-playing sites are just the tip of the iceberg of what the community will be using in years to come, and it will be fascinating to see how this information community continues to embrace and utilize emerging technologies in the future. I hope you enjoyed the video. Thanks so much for watching, and leave your thoughts in the comments below.